Hey, we're Saints. Father Chris here. Welcome to our Crucifixional live stream. Glad to have you beautiful people with us on this glorious Monday as we are past the midway point of July. I can't believe how fast life goes. God help us. Glad you're in. Glad to have you with us today. I was reading from Romans today. So in the Orthodox Church, every single day of the year has assigned an epistle reading and a gospel reading. And today's epistle reading comes to us from Romans, St. Paul's epistle to the Romans. And in the last chapter 16, he says the following towards the end of the letter. He's making his final exhortation to his community. I appeal to you, brethren, to take note of those who create dissensions and difficulties in opposition to the doctrine which you have been taught. Avoid them. Now, what the context here is that St. Paul was preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ to the Gentiles, and he was saying that the Gentiles should be admitted or become members, Christians, members of the church, Christians, by their faith in the gospel. The Jewish Christians were saying, no, it has to be first through circumcision. They first have to become a Jew, and then they can accept Jesus to become into the church. And there was a dispute over this, ideas of the gospel in the early church. And so Paul was constantly fighting against that Jewish Christian sect who was fighting against him. And what he's saying here is, look, when you get into a conversation with someone and they may be opposing the doctrine you've been teaching or the teaching that you've been given, avoid them. Don't get into the silly, into the fray. Don't fight. It's basically what he's saying. Just walk away. And as I was thinking about it this morning, I'm like, does that same idea of walking away from a contentious person apply also to our lives who may not be out there preaching the gospel in the first century Palestine to Jewish, Christian, and Gentile community? I think, yeah, of course it does. We all have or all encounter those contentious people in our lives. Even like as a public figure, we face that, quite often. Most people have been gracious, have embraced us. We love you. We're grateful. But there are some who are pretty rotten and want to stir the pot. Some who deliberately come up with stuff, throw stuff in order to stir the pot, right? To be contentious. And I thought about it as in my own life. I'm like, the reaction is the natural response is to respond in kind. I'm going to give you right back. But the more I think about it, it's boring. I'm not interested in that. I'm doing a lot of work. You guys know this. Greg's doing a lot of work. You know this. We grind every single day. We don't have time to play games and banter back and forth with people who are just deliberately contentious. And the more I think about it, it just isn't even interesting. It's like I can't fix that brain, right? There's a guy out there who's just constantly going. We all know the type, right? There's that type of person who's just constantly trying to stir the pot. I can't fix that. It's busted. It is what it is. I don't have time for it, and I don't have interest in it because I'm more focused on teaching and giving 100%. And so I share this with you, as warrior saints. Our job is to be able to say, look, this needs to be stood up for. We need to defend this. But 99% of this stuff is garbage and silliness, so we don't need to stand up for it. It's a waste of time. And as I'm saying today, it's kind of boring, right? It's not interesting. I'm not being eloquent. Let's say it like this. I am interested in teaching, right? That to me is fascinating and fun. I'm giving it 100%. I'm not interested in dealing with contentious people. It's just of no value. So why engage in it? Does that make sense? What you have to do is fight that natural temptation. I'll end here. Look at it like this. If I ask you, what time is it? You have no choice but to look at your watch, right? You're programmed to look at your watch. We all are. Likewise, when someone comes to us in a contentious fashion, our natural inclination, the programming, is to respond in kind. I'm saying on this day, don't do that. It's boring. Get away from it. Avoid them. How do we do that, however, may be a challenging thing. This is a truism that it spans all time. So how do you and I, people who are striving to become warrior saints, overcome that? How do we get through that chaos of the contentious people and avoid them? I'll tell you how you do it. You visit warriorsaints.org and you subscribe to the Way of the Warrior Saint right now. We spend all of our time teaching and helping ourselves and other people learn how to overcome those contentious people, how to avoid them so that we can stay focused and on the right track. Glad to have you beautiful people in today. Visit us at warriorsaints.org. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Get on the Way of the Warrior Saint. We'll be back tomorrow to continue our teaching. And as always, until then, keep walking on the way of the warrior saint.